The content in this video is based on factual, real-life events and public records. All opinions expressed are for educational and documentary purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised, as some scenes may depict sensitive content. This video is intended for informative purposes and complies with YouTube's guidelines. In the remote corners of California, behind imposing walls and electronic gates, two of America's most notorious prisons hold secrets that push the human mind to its limits. From the frosted cells of Folsom to the isolated blocks of Pelican Bay, every sound, every shadow, and every silence tells a story of survival, power, and unexpected defiance. What happens when control, fear, and resilience collide in places meant to break men? If you enjoy real, gripping prison documentaries and true stories, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with your friends and family. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss more shocking and exclusive content. The first light of morning breaks over California's coast, the Pacific winds barely reaching the towering walls of Pelican Bay. Inside, orange-clad inmates stir in rows of cold, metallic cells, the echo of clanging doors punctuating the silence. Tattoos snake across forearms and necks, each marking a story, a past, a warning. Some sit hunched, eyes scanning shadows, as guards move like silent sentinels along narrow walkways. The tension is palpable. Here, even the air feels heavy, weighed down by decades of rules, rituals, and fear. At Folsom, the scene is different but equally stark. The historic prison sits in the golden morning haze, its brick walls scarred by time, graffiti whispering stories of previous inmates. In the yard, men line up for exercise, their movements cautious yet calculated. Every glance, every step, is measured. Tattoos glint in the sunlight as they pass, silent symbols of defiance, loyalty, or survival. The sound of shouted commands, the rattle of chains, and the distant hum of security cameras blend into a rhythm that prisoners have learned to read like a second language. Inside Pelican Bay's security housing unit, the most isolated inmates sit in cells that feel more like tombs than living spaces. They stare at blank walls, listening to the faint hum of vents, each man lost in his own mental battles. Some write notes to the world they left behind, sliding paper through tiny slots in cell doors, hoping their messages reach another soul. Here, the mind becomes both a weapon and a shield. The slightest mistake could mean months of added isolation. The slightest act of cunning could be the difference between survival and breaking under pressure. At Folsom, in the administrative wings, guards monitor screens showing live footage of every cell block. Biometric data streams across monitors, heart rates, movements, patterns, all analyzed to anticipate unrest. Yet the prisoners move in ways the cameras cannot predict, subtle gestures, small rebellions, moments of unity that escape even the most trained eyes. In this environment, control is constant, but resistance, no matter how small, is inevitable. By midday, both prisons show the duality of their existence: discipline and chaos, confinement and resilience, despair and fleeting moments of hope. An inmate at Pelican Bay traces the outline of a tattoo on his arm, remembering the streets, the family, the choices that brought him here. At Folsom, a man exchanges a silent nod with another across the yard, a shared understanding that life inside is a game of endurance, strategy, and mental fortitude. The day stretches, each hour bringing tension, each shadow a potential threat, each command a test of patience. And as the sun dips behind the fortified walls, the question lingers: how do men survive when the walls around them are built not just of stone and steel, but of fear, isolation, and relentless scrutiny? The afternoon settles over Pelican Bay, and with it, a different kind of tension. Inmates shuffle through narrow corridors, orange jumpsuits brushing cold concrete. The hum of fluorescent lights above blends with the low murmur of whispered conversations and the occasional sharp bark of a guard's order. Tattoos gleam under the flickering light, intricate designs that tell stories of survival, allegiance, and defiance. Every movement is measured, every glance strategic, because in these walls, one wrong step can change everything. In the exercise yard, a group of men gathers, forming patterns of behavior that are almost ritualistic. Some bang on metal surfaces, creating a rhythm, a code understood only by those who've spent years decoding the prison's silent language. Others sit against walls, silently observing, calculating, waiting for the opportune moment to act. The air vibrates with tension. It is as though the walls themselves are alive, pressing in, reminding them that freedom exists only outside these boundaries. Meanwhile, at Folsom, the historical weight of the prison is palpable. The echoes of past inmates linger in the brick corridors, whispering lessons of survival and resilience. Inside the cell blocks, men sit in tight quarters, their eyes darting toward the vents, the corners, the polished floors reflecting flickering lights. Tattoos cover arms, necks, and hands. Each mark a testament to battles fought both inside and out. Some write messages to the outside world, sliding notes through narrow openings, their words a lifeline in the monotony of isolation. In the administrative wings, guards monitor screens filled with live feeds. Biometric sensors pulse with data, heart rates, movement, signs of agitation. Yet the prisoners' minds remain untouchable. They anticipate patterns, adapt quickly, and find small ways to reclaim control in a system designed to strip them of it. A subtle nod, a whispered warning, or a carefully timed gesture can shift the balance of power in seconds. As the day progresses, the dual realities of these prisons become clear. Discipline, control, and observation clash with ingenuity, quiet rebellion, and survival instinct. At Pelican Bay, an inmate traces the line of a tattoo on his forearm, remembering the choices that brought him here and plotting the ones that may yet save him. At Folsom, a man passes a folded note through a vent, his eyes flicking toward the guards, calculating, silent. Every act, no matter how small, is a statement. I am here. I exist. I endure. By evening, the sun dips low, casting long shadows through barred windows and along concrete floors. The orange jumpsuits glow faintly under the teal-amber light, the tattoos like maps of lives etched in ink and pain. And as darkness settles, the question rises. In a place designed to break men, how do they hold on to the fragments of identity, resilience, and humanity that remain? Night descends over Pelican Bay, and with it, a suffocating quiet that seems louder than any shouting. The prisoners retreat to their cells, the clank of metal doors closing like a heartbeat echoing through the corridors. Orange jumpsuits glow faintly in the dim teal and amber light, tattoos catching shadows as the men shift restlessly on cold bunk beds. Some sit silently, staring at concrete walls, while others whisper, their voices barely carrying across the narrow space. In one cell, a man traces the jagged lines of a tattoo on his forearm, the design a memory of battles fought both outside and inside these walls. He listens intently as a faint tapping rhythm resonates through the vents, a signal passed from cell to cell, a secret network thriving beneath the watchful eyes of guards. Every knock carries meaning, every pause is calculated, and the message, though small, represents a lifeline of communication, resistance, and solidarity. At Folsom, the night holds a different kind of tension. The historical weight of the prison casts shadows across the hallways, as if the ghosts of the past are watching. Men pace in small circles, some writing notes to slide through vents or gaps in the doors, others quietly observing patterns, memorizing guards' routines. Tattoos on arms and necks are highlighted by the flickering lights, each mark telling a story of survival, loyalty, and defiance. Even in darkness, there is motion, strategy, and an unspoken understanding of power. Meanwhile, surveillance screens in the administrative wing pulse with soft teal and amber light, displaying corridors, yards, and cells. Guards watch intently, yet they cannot see the subtleties of thought, the unspoken plans forming in minds hardened by years of confinement. Small gestures, a nod, a glance, a coded tap, carry immense weight, allowing prisoners to exert control in a system designed to strip it away. The struggle between authority and autonomy continues, invisible yet palpable. In the deepest corners of the prisons, men meditate, others whisper prayers, and some rehearse escape from monotony through mental exercises, imagination, or strategic observation. Every second stretches, time itself becomes a weapon. The walls are oppressive, Yet the human mind remains agile, resilient, and cunning. Tattoos glint, orange jumpsuits ripple in motion, and every breath becomes a subtle rebellion against the institution's attempts to erase individuality. As the night deepens, the tension escalates, an invisible thread connecting all inmates in silent defiance. In Pelican Bay, a note passes through a vent. In Folsom, a small knock on the wall signals a shared understanding. The message is clear. Even in confinement, the human spirit adapts, resists, and survives. Shadows lengthen across concrete floors, and one question lingers in the darkness. In a place built to crush identity, who truly holds power? The institution, or the minds that refuse to break? Morning light seeps into Pelican Bay, harsh and unforgiving, cutting through narrow slits in reinforced windows. The prisoners stir, some rubbing sleep from their eyes, others already alert, scanning the hallways for patterns, routines, and opportunities. The orange of their jumpsuits seems almost fiery under the cold teal and amber glow of the lights, while tattoos on arms, necks, and hands tell stories of lives lived outside, before the walls closed in. In a small cell, one man sharpens his focus, tracing mental maps of the corridors and surveillance blind spots. Every footstep in the hallway resonates with calculated timing, guards, prisoners, and shadows moving in an unspoken choreography. The tension is almost tangible, like a wire stretched to its limit, and yet beneath it lies an undercurrent of strategy. Inmates communicate through subtle gestures, small taps, and fleeting glances, building networks of understanding invisible to the official eyes above. Across Folsom, the yard is alive with motion. Prisoners engage in exercise routines, but every action carries dual purpose, keeping bodies strong while observing, calculating, memorizing. Tattoos ripple as muscles flex, orange jumpsuits catching teal and amber light. A small group gathers near a corner, exchanging coded signals, plotting the next moves in the silent game of influence and survival. Authority looms, but so does ingenuity. Even under strict surveillance, the human mind bends, adapts, and maneuvers. Back in Pelican Bay's administrative corridors, monitors flicker, displaying every hallway, cell block, and gate. Guards sip coffee, eyes scanning screens, unaware of the subtle movements of intellect happening under their watch. Small signals, hidden codes, and whispered plans unfold within cells, proving that confinement cannot fully suppress ingenuity. The walls may contain bodies, but they cannot contain resolve, nor the strategies born of decades of oppression, boredom, and resistance. As afternoon approaches, a minor confrontation sparks in Folsom's yard. Guards and prisoners exchange words, tension rising, but no violence erupts. Every glance, every shift, every heartbeat is a lesson in control. The prisoners know the rules, bend them subtly, and test the limits without overtly breaking them. The air vibrates with silent strategy, a constant game of observation, deception, and endurance. As the sun begins to set, the teal and amber light gives way to shadows stretching long across concrete floors. In Pelican Bay, a note slips through a vent. In Folsom, a sequence of knocks signals comprehension. Each act is small, quiet, but meaningful, a testament to adaptability and resilience. The day ends without major incident, yet the undercurrents of tension, strategy, and psychological warfare remain. Within these walls, power is never absolute, and the question persists. In a place designed to dominate, who really commands? The institution, or the minds that refuse to yield? Night descends over Pelican Bay, the walls now bathed in cold teal and amber shadows. The prisoners move cautiously in their cells, whispering plans and exchanging coded signals through vents, taps, and gestures. Orange jumpsuits flicker in the dim light, and tattoos tell silent stories of loyalty, past struggles, and hidden defiance. Every eye is alert, every motion calculated. The night is long, but for these men, it is a canvas for strategy, observation, and subtle rebellion. At Folsom, the yard is silent under the watchful gaze of floodlights. The prisoners' footsteps echo against concrete as small groups coordinate silently, forming a network of understanding unseen by guards. Each movement is deliberate, every glance is a message. A minor scuffle erupts near the gym, quick, tense, but controlled. No one is injured, yet the demonstration sends ripples through the prison psyche. Power here is fragile, constantly tested by those who refuse to be entirely subdued. Back in Pelican Bay's corridors, monitors glow with soft light, yet fail to capture the invisible tension. A prisoner uses the shadows to move a hidden note, a plan, a call to solidarity. The guards remain oblivious, unaware that behind the strict routines, the human spirit adapts, resists, and survives. Walls confine bodies, but ingenuity and resolve flow freely, weaving a quiet tapestry of rebellion. In Folsom cell blocks, small victories manifest in whispers and coded knocks. Every inmate knows the risks, yet still finds ways to assert agency within the rigid system. Orange and teal blend into a visual rhythm of control and defiance, a testament to the complex psychology of incarceration. The night deepens, tension unbroken, and the constant question persists. In these institutions built to dominate, can freedom exist in the mind, even if never in the body? The morning light creeps through narrow slits at Pelican Bay, casting long, cold shadows across the concrete floors. The silence is thick, broken only by the faint clanging of doors and the distant echo of boots on steel. Inmates shift in their orange jumpsuits, tattoos stretching across arms and necks, symbols of their pasts and their defiance. Each face tells a story, etched with years of survival, caution, and the constant calculation of risk. In the corridors, the hum of fluorescent lights mixes with the occasional scrape of a tray cart. Small groups cluster in corners, whispering, exchanging folded notes, tapping rhythms on metal surfaces. They have learned to communicate without words, to orchestrate understanding through gestures and coded knocks. One inmate leans against the wall, eyes darting toward the guard station, calculating whether it is safe to pass the message. The thrill of secrecy and the weight of observation intertwine, creating a psychological tension that no walls or bars can contain. Folsom State Prison awakens similarly, though its historic architecture adds a different gravity. The long, shadowed hallways of the old stone buildings seem to hold echoes of decades past. The footsteps of inmates resonate differently here, a rhythmic reminder of the human patterns that persist despite confinement. A prisoner walks along the block, his tattoos visible beneath the sleeve of his jumpsuit, each mark a testament to history, identity, and moments of rebellion. Behind every glance and subtle movement lies a strategy, an assertion of control in a system designed to strip it away. In Pelican Bay, the yard is alive with subtle signals. A sudden clatter draws the guard's attention momentarily, giving another inmate a brief chance to exchange a note under the watchful eyes of surveillance cameras. The message travels unseen, a thread connecting isolated minds. Inside the cells, tension rises as prisoners read, digest, and respond to these secret communications. Trust is precious. Every misstep could have consequences, but the human desire for connection and agency finds ways to persist. Meanwhile, in Folsom, a controlled scuffle breaks out near the workshop, small enough to avoid serious injury, yet visible enough to send ripples of acknowledgement through the blocks. Inmates observe the reactions of guards, measuring the boundaries of control. There is an unspoken game here, testing limits, gauging responses, and asserting presence without overt confrontation. The psychological interplay between power and resistance becomes palpable, a silent duel fought across corridors, yards, and locked cells. Back in Pelican Bay, a single cell becomes a microcosm of calculated tension. An inmate carefully writes on a metal chip, his hands steady despite the pressure. Tattoos catch the faint teal-amber light, tracing stories of survival and defiance across forearms and neck. He folds the chip, slides it into a vent, and listens intently as the faint sounds of tapping acknowledge receipt. Across the prison, similar exchanges ripple like invisible currents, a network of minds quietly resisting confinement. Each action is deliberate, measured, and fraught with risk, yet the thrill of exercising agency, however small, strengthens resolve. At Folsom, shadows stretch across the stone floors as guards move through hallways, their eyes scanning for anomalies. Inmates navigate the watchful gaze, using the architecture to their advantage. A whispered conversation through a cell grill, a subtle hand gesture, a synchronized knock on metal. These are small victories in a system designed for absolute control. The psychology of confinement is not just about punishment. It is about shaping behavior, testing endurance, and exploiting the human need for connection. Yet in these moments, prisoners reclaim a fraction of their autonomy, turning restriction into a canvas for ingenuity. As night falls, both Pelican Bay and Folsom transform. Shadows deepen, and the teal and amber glow of emergency and hallway lights cast dramatic, almost cinematic tones across the corridors. Inmates retreat to their cells, bodies tense, minds alert. The day's calculated movements settle into reflection, lessons learned, patterns observed, plans considered. There is no respite from the mental game. Every moment in these walls carries weight, a constant negotiation between survival, control, and resistance. The psychological undercurrents are unmistakable. In Pelican Bay, whispers through vents continue into the night, a quiet symphony of defiance. At Folsom, subtle movements echo across stone hallways, a testament to the enduring human spirit. Tattoos, orange jumpsuits, and careful gestures become symbols of identity and resilience within a system designed to erase individuality. And though the day concludes, the tension persists, unbroken, unresolved, an omnipresent reminder that confinement can restrict the body, but it cannot fully suppress the mind. The chapter closes on a moment of quiet yet electric anticipation. A single knock, a faint whisper, a shadow moving just out of the camera's view, small yet significant, signaling that the struggle continues. Both prisons, though thousands of miles apart, share this common thread: the human capacity to adapt, resist, and survive even under the most extreme constraints. The night holds secrets, and the next day will bring new challenges, testing the fragile balance between authority and autonomy once again. The morning air at Pelican Bay carries a chill that seeps through the concrete walls, but inside, the tension is almost suffocating. Inmates pace in their cells, tattoos exposed beneath the orange jumpsuits, each line and symbol telling stories of survival and rebellion. The yard is quiet, but beneath the surface, a current of anticipation hums. Every glance, every subtle gesture is loaded with meaning. The lessons of previous days, the coded knocks, the whispered exchanges through vents, culminate now in a delicate orchestration of quiet resistance. In Folsom, sunlight filters through the barred windows of the historic stone buildings, casting long, dramatic shadows that emphasize the stark lines of confinement. Prisoners move deliberately, testing the rhythm of the guards' patrols, anticipating responses. The psychological game has reached its peak. Each action is strategic, each observation crucial. One inmate lingers near a vent, listening, waiting, eyes scanning for a signal. The anticipation is almost unbearable, a tension built over days of subtle defiance and careful calculation. Across both prisons, small victories ripple outward. Messages are exchanged unseen, movements are synchronized, and connections are maintained despite physical isolation. Tattoos catch the teal and amber light from flickering hallways, emphasizing the humanity trapped within the stark uniforms. Guards move through the corridors, unaware of the invisible networks forming under their noses. Inmates have learned the delicate balance of patience and boldness, the art of asserting presence without provoking full-scale retaliation. As the day progresses, the tension begins to peak. In Pelican Bay, a subtle commotion in one cell block draws the guard's attention, and elsewhere, messages slip quietly through vent grills. Each act is a demonstration of the ingenuity and resilience forged under extreme confinement. At Folsom, the echo of controlled knocks reverberates through the hallways, a signal that small acts of autonomy are still possible. The prisons are alive, not with chaos, but with the quiet assertion of identity, strategy, and human will. By late afternoon, shadows lengthen, and both prisons adopt an almost cinematic atmosphere. The orange of the jumpsuits glows warmly against the teal-amber hues of the lighting, casting striking contrasts across tattoos, faces, and metal bars. Inmates retreat to their cells, reflecting on the day's subtle triumphs. the small victories that allow them to reclaim a measure of control. The psychological endurance demanded by confinement has forged connections, sharpened awareness, and underscored the power of observation, patience, and strategy. As night falls, the prison's quiet, but not entirely. The hum of life continues in the background, the faint sounds of whispered communication, the subtle tapping of hands against metal, the movement of shadows along concrete floors. The human spirit endures in these quiet acts, revealing that confinement cannot fully suppress ingenuity, resilience, and the drive to connect. Pelican Bay and Folsom stand as monuments to control, yet also to the ingenuity of those who navigate their walls. The chapter closes on a final scene of reflection. An inmate at Pelican Bay traces his tattoos in the dim glow, watching as shadows dance across the cell walls. At Folsom, another folds a note carefully, sliding it through the vent, a small act of defiance that links him to others across the block. These moments encapsulate the essence of life behind bars: constant vigilance, calculated action, and the enduring struggle to maintain identity in the face of dehumanizing structures. In the outro, the camera pans across both prisons, teal and amber lights highlighting the harsh geometry of bars, corridors, and yards. Voiceover reminds the viewer, life inside these walls is not only about punishment, it is about survival, adaptation, and the psychological realities that shape every decision. The story of Pelican Bay and Folsom is a story of resilience, strategy, and the human will to persist even when the walls close in. And as the final frame lingers, one fact is clear: confinement may cage the body, but it cannot fully cage the mind. If you enjoy real, gripping prison documentaries and true stories, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with your friends and family. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss more shocking and exclusive content.